And we're live. Hey guys, welcome to Whiskey, Wine, and Writing. I'm Natasha.
I'm Nikki, and we're so happy to be with you and talk about how we should stay happy because it's hard as writers.
It's very hard as writers, especially when you're in the middle of querying and you're just down in the dumps from rejection or whatever the case may be. Sometimes it's just really, really hard to stay positive.
Yes. I think when I was querying at one point, I got so sad that I ate a whole pint of Ben and Jerry's in one day. That was fun. I sometimes liken Ben and Jerry to be my best friends. That's on the downswing, though, because they've made me fat. What friends do that?
Well, they were just doing, their thing. They were there for you. What you did with them was your decision.
Yeah.
But no, I remember that I'd actually started like querying short stories, or not querying, but submitting short stories first, because I'm like, oh, if I have short stories under my belt, it'll help me get an agent. Not true. I don't have a short story published to date. Okay. So I just happened to be thinking along those lines back like 2 years ago. And when I got my first rejection for a short story, I was like, yes, I got a rejection. My husband's like, why are you happy about this? I'm like, because it means I'm trying. So there's one of your positive outlooks. You can't get a rejection unless you're trying. And the only way you could ever truly fail is to never try.
No, I used to save my rejections. Actually, I can't remember what it was. I got a printed out one that like an actual in the mail, and I like kept it in my box. I think it was for playwriting because I used to do that first. And I was like, I'm going to frame this one day when I'm famous. But I mean, that hasn't happened yet. But I still have the.
So like, you have to kind of query like plays as well, like you would a novel.
It's a little different, and it depends on each type of thing. A lot of them frame them as contests now. But a lot of times you can pitch your novel not novel, play to a theater or to a dramaturg or to other things like that. But a lot of them usually do like play festivals.
I actually wanted to take the playwriting course. They have playwriting and screenwriting for fall semester, but I'm already taking a creative writing class that I have to take for the publishing and editing class that I'm going to be taking, like because I was supposed to do before, but I got them to let me do it at the same time. And I was like, oh, awesome. They have these two other classes, and one falls into like the same time as the publishing and editing class, so that didn't work. And then the other one was at a completely different campus that I just don't want to drive to. So it's like, crap. I think we're just sticking with one creative writing class, a publishing and editing class, and the two other classes I have to take.
Yeah, that sounds good. But so for tonight, guys, for everyone watching, we are going to talk about staying positive, and it's just us tonight because, we figured let's just have a laid-back, chill discussion, a heart-to-heart, because we know that the writer's life is tough. So if you want to chime in with a question or a statement or anything, just, tweet us at #WWWriting or head to our Google Hangout and ask us in the Q&A section, and we'd be very happy to talk with you.
Absolutely. And we also do have our new social media specialist with us, Suzanne Salmon. She is going to be doing all the tweets for tonight's show. So make sure you follow her personal account to show your appreciation, which is at Suzanne Salmon. Nice and easy, it's her name. And she's awesome and she's beautiful and she has these really great tweets. So even when she's not tweeting for Whiskey, Wine, and Writing, she's got a great personality and you're going to want to follow her anyway. So just go follow her.
Which I gotta say, Suzanne, I love you so much for saying that you like my lipstick, because I was telling Tasha before the show, I have the thinnest lips ever that are like see-through and translucent because I'm a pale person, and I basically like, this is a lip stain that won't come off for like ever. I mean, it comes off occasionally, but yeah, no, I appreciate that. See, positivity, just telling me I have pretty lips today. I really appreciate it.
See, Nikki's always down on herself about her looks, and I always tell her she's beautiful, but apparently Suzanne carries more weight, so it's all good. I see.
No, that's not true. That's not true. No, anyway.
Anyways. See, and this is a good thing, even when you're down in the trenches, if you have a CP partner or a friend where you can just banter with to get your mind off of things, that is a good way to stay positive, because, you sit there, you start talking, and you just run off at the mouth with each other, and then next thing you know, you're laughing. So one good way to stay positive is, whether it's with your critique partners or a friend in real life or a critique partner in real life or whatever, just start talking to them and, tell them what's going on if you want to, but don't let that be the entire topic of conversation. Move on to something not writing related so that you can kind of pull yourself out of that dump for a little bit.
And I think also, I think people confuse staying positive with not letting yourself wallow. Sure, you shouldn't wallow for a very long period of time, but you are allowed to have feelings. This is a very emotional ride between querying and trying to get an agent, and then you have the agent, and then you're revising, and then you go on sub, and then there's book deals, and then there's everything else. Then there's like, what should my next book be? It is a roller coaster. You are allowed to have those feelings. It's just when to stop the bad feelings and go, I'm going to press forward. And you can do it. We try to do it. Everyone just needs to be positive together.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to feel bad at some point or another, but the trick is not letting it consume you to the point where it starts to dictate your life. I have done that, by the way. I'm not going to say I didn't. Like, and it doesn't necessarily even have to be about writing. Like, I'm naturally a pessimistic person. I try very hard these days not to be so pessimistic, but I'm naturally pessimistic, and my husband has to remind me. He's like, babe, see something good, because all you're seeing is bad. You should be excited about this. You should be excited about that, and all you're doing is worrying about the bad things that can happen. So, you know, I think sometimes when you're too negative and too down on yourself, you are going to miss out on other good things going on around you.
Yes. And, you know, I think, you know, one of the big things, too, on staying positive. Sorry, I'm, like, retweeting all of Suzanne's awesome. I just love her so much. Guys, speaking of which, if you want to distract yourself from the roller coaster of writing life and join a dynamic team like Whiskey, Wine, and Writing, we still have positions open, and you could join Suzanne and Tasha and make this a beautiful community even better. So make sure you go to whiskeywineandwriting.com and apply, and there are plenty of positions available.
Positively. So.
Before I got distracted by my own infomercial there, what I was going to say was, actually, I don't remember anymore. Go ahead, Tasha.
So she puts me on the spot. Y'all see how it is, right? Okay. So,
well, you know, this is how you distract yourself, by just being goofballs and not being sad.
Absolutely. So I will tell you one thing that totally makes me feel better. I know Nikki's is Ben and Jerry, but if you give me dark chocolate, I am the happiest girl in the whole world. I mean, that's all I need. I just need some dark chocolate. That's it. Like the Dove squares. And the Dove squares, if you get them, have little inspirational quotes on their wrappers, by the way. So every time you open up a piece of dark chocolate, you're getting an upbeat, awesome, inspirational quote to make you feel better.
I'm behind the dark chocolate train, too. I just remember what I was going to say. I feel like the number one thing that is like a risk for writers, I mean, anyone in general, but in life, but for writers, is don't compare yourself to any other person, because everyone's author journey is so different. I don't think I've met a single person who has a similar author journey or agent experience, or even the book. I mean, it's as diverse as your books are. So comparing yourself to other people can often lead to lots of negativity, because it's like, why don't I have an agent yet? Or why am I not on submission yet? Or why doesn't anyone read my books? So definitely
negativity, Suzanne. Not creativity. You want the creativity. You don't want the negativity. I'm looking at the tweet. I'm sorry.
See, we're just so in love with her. Let's just talk about Suzanne.
Yeah, I know what you put when you bog yourself down with creativity. I'm like, no, negativity. Oh, okay. So I have to laugh at that one. That's awesome. But and what Nikki said is true. But I'm still one of those people who's like, oh my god, I suck compared to them. Like, I'm the person who compares. I try so hard not to, because she's right. It is so different. And it doesn't mean you suck. It just means it is what it is. And you have your different paths and your different writing styles. But I still look at other people and I'm like, oh, I suck.
No, you definitely don't suck. You're awesome.
You're awesome, too.
You guys just need to find a friend and be like, look at each other and go, hey, let's just have a you're awesome fight today.
Don't even worry about it, Suzanne. It made me laugh.
So we want to, talk to you guys too. Maybe you're down, or maybe you recently got over a hump. How do you stay positive, or what are you struggling with? Feel free to chime in anytime. We are happy to chat. And we also got a hello from our lovely friend, Leatrice McKinney, who was on last week. You're not late. We're just talking positivity. How are you, Leatrice?
Hi, Elle. And in case you guys forgot, Elle is going to be my roommate at RT, so it's going to be so much fun. And she has a very Alice in Wonderland horror-esque novel, and they're doing an Alice in Wonderland tea party at the RT convention, so I told her we have to go to that. I'm like, we have to go to this. So that should be fun. And crap, there was something now I was going to say. Oh, yes, so my one of my CP partners, Kathy Palm, She's with Roots Publishing, and she just did a post today actually that I thought was really cool about noticing all the little things in life that make you happy. Like for her, it's going to her kids, you know, games and laughing with her husband or watching a movie with them. So even when you're feeling negative about maybe the writing aspect of your life, a good thing to do is step back and remember all the good things you have going for you. And even when it comes to queries, if you get a rejection, you can find something good in it if it's like personalized. So say it's not a form rejection, say you got a personalized rejection. That's a small victory because that means somebody's taking their time out to say, hey, this is good, or it needs improvement here, possibly giving you a tip on what you can do to make it better. Or I loved it, but I don't think I'm the one who can champion it. Those are good things. It still sucks to be rejected, but there is a little bit of a silver lining in there.
Mm-hmm. Totally. My college best friend, we have a long distance CP relationship now because later in life we decided we both are authors, and she writes and she's amazing. We actually, whenever we got a rejection, we would text each other about it, and then the other person would immediately text back progress. And that was just kind of like our keep it in perspective tradition that we had with each other. And I found it really helpful because I'd be like, oh, my dream agent rejected me. And the truth is I actually never had a dream agent. I think I called every single agent I queried my dream agent because I think everyone's wonderful. But.
Yeah, I know. I'm like, I mean, I love my agent. I think I landed like the greatest agent. But, you know, I think everybody feels like that about their agent. So I think it's worth the wait, really, actually. You know, I think sometimes things happen for a reason and it doesn't resonate with somebody because somebody else is going to absolutely love it enough to where they're going to put their heart and soul into making it the best book it can be to get it sold.
Yes. And someone will believe in your book. I think that's the most important thing to focus on is you are talented, you keep going, and you have to keep working at it too, which brings us to another thing. Since we're talking about queries and staying positive, one of the best ways to stay positive is to always improve yourself. And we're doing a fun giveaway tonight where, well, we're not giving it away tonight. You can enter tonight and all day tomorrow for query critiques from me and Tasha because we love querying and we love helping our friends. So
absolutely, and there's a lot of competitions coming up that are going to require queries, and especially if you're entering those, we'd love to be able to kind of help you out and give you some pointers on it that'll maybe help make it shine.
Yes, I had to revise my queries so many times before anyone liked it. I think I wrote my entire book down on a page and was like, well, that's a query, right? No.
Amazingly enough, for Redemption, I did a little bit different than my previous query for a different book. Like the previous book, I wrote the book and then I wrote the query. And it's like every time I would be frustrated with my book or I didn't want to look at what I was writing or whatever, I would go over to the query, which probably makes no sense because query writing sucks so much worse than actually writing your book. But I would go over to my query and I'd be like, what can I do to make this better? So as I was writing my book, I was working on the query and I kept revising it. And then I throw it up on Agent Query Connect and be like, okay, what do you guys think? And they'd give me tips. So then I'm still doing it as I go. Because for that book, though, I knew I wanted the book to go. I knew what the stakes were going to be. I knew what was going to happen. I don't always know that, though.
Yes. I totally know what you mean. Sometimes I actually write the query before I start writing the book to see if it makes sense.
Yeah,
I love I have an agent. I still write a query just because it helps me organize it. But my favorite exercise, I don't know if you've ever done this, Tasha, but my favorite exercise for query writing is if you get a CP who swaps a novel with you, read each other's novel, give feedback like you normally would, and then write each other's query to see.
I've never done that.
It is an amazing exercise because I had a friend who I loved her book so much. It's just a beautiful book. And then she showed me her query, and I thought her book was about something completely different.
Because of the query.
Well, I read the book and then she showed me the query and what she was highlighting as the main thing. I didn't think it was the main thing. So I was like, well, that's interesting. I thought it was something else. So then I wrote a query like I would, and then we hybrid them together. And it was just such a cool query after that. But it was interesting because you're so close to your own book. Sometimes you can't see the little things that you should highlight. My pitch words mentor helped me with that too. She was like, let me help you with your query and point out the things you're not necessarily seeing as important, because I was bogged down with all these other details in my mind because I had just written a 80,000 word novel.
Yeah, definitely. And that can happen. Sometimes you get entirely too close and it's harder to see the stakes, or because there are subplots and sometimes you don't necessarily realize you're adding in subplots as you do it, but there are generally subplots. And then you kind of maybe lose the main plot and you're trying to incorporate all these subplots into your book, or into your query. So it's about finding that main plot, because all the subplots, the agent will read when they make the full request. So you just want to take all the main points and put it through and stream it through your query to make it strong and put the main stakes. This has to happen or this is going to be the result if it doesn't. Put those stakes in there from that main plot line.
I remember when I entered pitch words, you have to apply to 4 different mentors, but you do it in one fell swoop. You did it too. But one of the mentors emailed me back and was like, oh, I'm interested, but I don't understand what your stakes are. I'll give you a chance to email me back. And I was like, how did I not put that in my query? And it was
one of the hardest things to elaborate on in the query, I think. But I also think the more specific you are about it, the more your query is going to define those stakes. I've said it before, if you're saying stuff like mysterious, secret, unknown, more than likely you're being too general in your query. You need to bring it in. You need to make it tighter. You need to let the agent know why your book is different than 100 other books that say a mysterious force. Don't say a mysterious force. Tell us what that force is.
Yes. Secrets hurt everyone, especially when it's your query. I don't think I've ever talked about this before. Maybe I have, but so my book has a secret, and so the first round of queries I wrote, it hid the secret, and everyone was like, it's too vague. Well, then the second round of queries I wrote had the secret right out there together. The query that ultimately got me my agent, after seriously workshopping this thing 30,000 times, was I took out the blatancy of what the secret was, but made it obvious what the secret was in the tone and the phrasing, because that captured the tone of the book. That was super hard, but man, it was quite the fun journey trying to figure that one out. Because it's like it's so hard to find that balance, and you can find the balance for your book. It's just lots of work and dedication, and never think that your first query is the end all be all. I think Elle said that last week too. That's
never gonna happen. It's just not. So, but I mean, if you're also just kind of so fed up that you can't even look at your story or your query, I would say that is the time to go out with some friends and do something that's not writing related.
Agreed.
So, because I'm kind of a workaholic, I actually wound up kind of segregating myself from the world for 2 months because of school and writing and deadlines and everything like that. And I'm just now getting back into hanging out with my friends, and I'm like, oh my God, I miss this. I need this relief. I need to be able to hang out with people and have contact. And I know a lot of writers have the problem of they want to sit in front of the keyboard. They just want to keep the words going. But I also think having that human interaction and getting away from the keyboard is beneficial to your writing.
Yeah. I think it's easy to think, this is what I want so badly, so I'm going to be disciplined, because discipline is what gets you there. But there's a point where discipline becomes too much, and it clouds your creativity, it clouds your happiness, it clouds you as a person. And while it's good to sit down and write on a schedule or, get your work done, but if you're hammering out a certain number of words every day just because you feel like you have to, and you're not having time to like exercise or see your friends or hug a puppy or something fun, like that's a problem. You need to take a break. And that's one of the reasons I'm trying to do Shrek the Musical, Tasha. Was a joke with a coworker, because she's like, you only do writing. You go to work and you write, you leave the house and you write, and then you freelance and you write. You need to do something fun. And so I'm trying out for a musical, which I haven't done in a decade.
I told you should. And you're like, no, and I'm like, yes. She's gonna be amazing. She's gonna get the part. Don't doubt that. So, and then actually, I decided to, because I realized that I write a lot about writing, especially with Whiskey, Wine, and Writing. So I kind of decided I needed a schedule for my blog, because I tend to leave my blog to the tumbleweeds for quite a long period of time. I'm like, no, I need a schedule. So I have my Sunday snippets where I'll recap a little bit about what's going on personally in my writing world, as opposed to like an overall sense of helping people in the writing world. But otherwise, I have like this schedule now where, and yes, if you go to my blog today, guys, it's Man Candy Monday. That's what I'm calling it.
I've never heard of this. What is this Man Candy Monday?
This Man Candy Monday will be me posting really hot guys on my blogs on Monday. Like, for instance, today's Man Candy is Dean Winchester from Supernatural, and it is the evolution of him in GIFs. I think I have like 2 static pictures, but the evolution of him from season 1 to season 10. So, you know, I did all that. And I think that next Man Candy Monday, I'm going to do hot guys with accents, you know, so.
That's awesome.
And I figure Monday's like the perfect day for that, because who doesn't need a pick-me-up on Mondays? So, and then Tuesday will be Tuesday tastings, where I will just put little snippets about foods that I love. Nice. So. And then Wednesdays are Wednesday watchings about what I'm watching on TV and stuff like that. So I kind of tried to get away from me writing about writing into other stuff that I like Man Candy and food and TV shows.
I've never heard the phrase Man Candy before, and now all I want to do is go yum. I feel like that's mildly inappropriate. I apologize, everyone. I'm in a weird space right now. But it's probably because I should go out and do stuff other than writing occasionally.
But yeah, so no, also getting out of your comfort zone when it comes to writing is a good way to stay positive. Like, if you're having trouble with what you're writing, and maybe you have an idea that you probably know will never get published because it's totally out, you know, out there, whatever, write it anyway. If it makes you happy to write it, write it. Yeah. I mean, just do it. If it's gonna, you know, get your creative juices flowing, if it's gonna make your fingers fly across the keys, or, you know, you want to write it down on paper or whatever. If you want to write it, write it. Even if it's just a scene or a story or whatever, write it. If it makes you feel better, go for it.
Ella just wrote a super cool comment to us, and it was, "We write based on our experiences. Your writing well will dry up if you don't have new ones." It's so true. You gotta go live life if you want to write about life. Okay, so speaking of Man Candy Monday, it made me think of, have you followed or seen the tweets from YA Brooding Hero?
No.
On Twitter? Okay, you have to go check him out. It's actually done by her. It was all over BuzzFeed and the Huffington Post, but it's one of those like parody accounts where the tweets are all things that like stereotypical brooding bad boys from young adult fiction would say. And if you ever need a pick-me-up from your writing, go over to YA Brooding Hero and check that out, because it is hysterical. It's something like, "Oh yes, I smoke and drink and I don't go to class, but I will graduate with honors and have a 6-pack." And it's just so funny. I love all the tweets. It's just fantastic.
That's funny. That's actually hilarious. And I mean, if we're continuing with the Man Candy, I actually found out last night that Captain America and Matt Murdock from Daredevil at certain points have the same butt. We were like there's a whole post on BuzzFeed if you look at the comparing of butts, because apparently there was like, these are some iconic butts, but one butt is a fake butt. And I'm like, what? And it turns out that the stunt double does for the same guys, and somebody figured this out via butt shots. Like, not naked butt shots, just back shots from them either in a fight scene or doing the punching bag or whatever. And somebody figured out that they had the same, like, somebody paid that much attention to find out they had the same asses. And it was like, made a whole post about it and found out who the stunt double was and everything like that. I just thought it was funny. I was like, it made me laugh. It really did. And Nikki's just got a face like, really? That happened?
I was like, I don't know. I don't think I'm old enough for this conversation anymore. All the butts.
But yeah, so we gave you guys a little bit more Man Candy Monday than we meant to. You're welcome. So hopefully, if you were feeling down, now you feel a little bit better. So from watching us be crazy people, it works. So since we are at 8:25, let me move off Man Candy. Let's go to our What's Up With You segment. So Nikki, what's up with you?
Honest. Well, I've been traveling a lot, and I did get to go to a wedding this past weekend.
Yes, I saw the pictures.
Yes, it's near my husband's hometown, and we got invited, and it was a friend we hadn't seen in 3 years, And so we're like, oh, I wonder who's going to be here. And it ended up being like every single person from your past that you possibly could want to reunite with was at this wedding. And
So it was like a mini reunion.
it was fantastic. It was very, very nice. But yeah, other than that, I've just been like trying to catch up on chores. I've realized I'm old now and I need to do things.
You're younger than I am. Shut up. No, you're not old.
But you're cooler than me. I don't know how to do laundry. I get holes in all my clothes when I put it in the machine.
That's your machine.
Okay.
It's time for a new one. Emptying your clothes.
And I realized, I used to watch Whiskey, Wine, and Writing and fold my laundry during the show, and now I don't fold laundry anymore. Curse you, show. Just
My bad.
But yeah, what's up with you, Tasha?
So apparently I'm going to be in a web series, at least in one episode, and I'm a henchman for, so my comic shop is Tate's Comics. You can find them on Twitter, on Facebook. And there's actually a promo video on YouTube too that says welcome to Tate's. And they're doing this whole web series about villains coming to the shop and like attacking the shop. And it's really cool. It was a lot of fun. And I got hit up at the last minute telling me, like, they were like, can you come out Sunday because we need extras for this web series. We're low on extras. We really, really need henchmen. I was like, yeah, sure, whatever. What do you want me to wear? And they were like, wear whatever, just have the dark hoodie. I was like, okay, well, I didn't need to bring the dark hoodie because I wound up getting Arkham Asylum gear, which is really cool because I was already wearing cargo pants and combat boots. So they gave me, like, the top. So I kind of look really fierce. My hair's all curly and wild. And I wasn't supposed to have lines. And I don't know if the lines are actually going to be in the web series or if they're going to get cut. But it was a lot of fun, and it was just insane because I've never done anything like that before, but I met some really cool people who are into a lot of the same shows and comics I am, so that was really a lot of fun. So yeah, that's what's up with me. I'm going to be, at the very least, an extra standing in a very orange shirt in a web series.
When do we get to watch this amazingness?
That was episode 6 that we did. So, and I think it's a total of 11 episodes. So once they finish the last 11 episodes, they'll be doing it once a week. So
nice.
It's going to be a little bit.
See, take it from Tasha. It's good to have hobbies.
Or at the very least, it's good to know the people from your comic shop. So. Something that usually always happens at comic shops. Like mine does free comic book day, 24-hour create your own comic where you draw a comic in 24 hours that my cousin always participates in, and all kinds of great stuff. There's always something going on there. It's a lot of fun.
That's awesome.
So, but yeah, so, going out and doing stuff and meeting people, you can get opportunities like that where you can do something other than writing that will cheer you up even if you're in a bad mood, because there was no way not to be cheered up filming that thing. It was a lot of fun. So you got to find different hobbies and things to do, because now I totally want to write a short story about people creating a webcast like that, like a web series.
The strangest things inspire you. So you have to find those and not focus on the process. Because if you spend any amount of time focusing on this process, I mean, it would depress every single person on the planet.
Mm-hmm. I agree. Another good idea, actually, I think, is, if you feel like, you're not as good as you could be, don't just wallow in the fact that you think you're not as good as you could be. There are tons of workshops, websites with tips, tricks, worksheets, all kinds of stuff. So if you feel like maybe you could improve somewhere, don't let that hold you back. Seek to do better. Seek to improve your craft, because nobody's a perfect writer. I think Chuck Wendig actually just did a post on that on his blog about everybody still sucks as a writer, at least in one form or the other.
Yes.
And it's true, we do. But don't let that hold you back. Don't be like, I suck. And also don't ever think you know everything. So always strive to improve. And I always find like doing stuff with other writers, whether it's an online workshop or just like these really cool worksheets you can print out that people have on their sites, and you fill them out or whatever. I always find those to be fun. I don't know, maybe I'm just a nerd, but I always find doing stuff like that to be fun.
They say, being a writer is often a solo endeavor, but it doesn't have to be. There are tons of ways to connect with people, other writers, and there's some writers groups that, like, online on Facebook. I don't know what I would do without them. There was this one day where someone just got really, really down on themselves and they were thinking about quitting entirely, and the entire group rallied around that person and was like, you can do it. And it was beautiful to see how, you know, we're strangers on the internet most of the time. But really, we're not strangers because we actually get each other. We're writers, and we understand that there's the heartache in it, and it's a process, and we got each other's backs. And that's what you need to do. If you don't have that kind of community yet, you know, go seek it out. Find a writers group online. You know, be on Twitter hashtags, enter a contest, be my best friend. I don't care. Like, just get to know people.
And, you know, it may take a minute to find that writing group or that perfect critique partner or something like that. Like, I went through tons of critique partners and trying to find people. And I think for a minute, maybe I tried a little too hard to find one because I felt like it blew up in my face for a minute. I was like, I'm never going to find a critique partner. And then I kind of left it alone for a little bit. And that's when I just found people. I just naturally started talking to people instead of actively seeking them out. And I just started clicking with people. And then I was like, oh, hey, like, I took the initiative. I was like, do you guys maybe want to start a critique group? Meet once a week, change out chapters each week, give feedback, and now I have my walrus writers, who I love. They're amazing. Mm-hmm. So, you know, just sitting there and trying different things within the writing world is a good thing too. Don't, especially since it's a creative path, if one path isn't working, don't be afraid to step out of your comfort zone and try something new.
And can I just say that within this past year, I want to say there has been a handful of friends of mine who they were on the ledge of quitting. And, you know, you just have to support them when they get that sad. But those people, a handful of them who were on the edge of quitting now have agents within this year. And just seeing that happen and seeing that they persevered and didn't give up when they really thought they should retire the entire idea, it's just so inspiring to me because you have to have the will to go on. And it's hard to find it, but you can find it deep down inside you.
So, yeah, it's so sorry. I literally just pulled open the Q&A bar. Like, I forgot that was there. My bad, guys. Lane's here. She says, hi, guys. Elle did actually respond to the tea party. She's like, she's going to wear a crazy hat. Bring an extra one for me. Like, I don't have any awesome tea party hats. They're even doing like this whole steampunk western one night. I'm like, man, I wish I had a steampunk outfit. I love steampunk. I'm probably gonna be the chick there in jeans and a t-shirt because I don't have a steampunk outfit, but I really want to go. So
they're having a tea party there.
They're having a Mad Hatter tea party at the RT convention.
Man, I love tea parties. I could have a tea party every day of my life and die a happy person.
So, and then Elle also says, we write based on our experiences. Your writing well will run dry if you don't have new ones. That's actually a really good piece of advice. She's always full of those. Elle is always posting great tidbits. You should really follow her at Elle on Words. She was our guest last week, and like I said, she's gonna be my roommate. She's always got these great words of wisdom that she's just randomly posting, and you just want to read them and gobble them up. So.
And that's another thing, you know, surround yourself by positive people because let's be honest, when you're trying to connect with people in the writing world, there are some negative Nellies out there. There are people who maybe their criticism comes off more negatively to you than they mean to, or they're just mean. That happens, unfortunately. So like find Elle on, you know, Twitter and follow her because she's a positive person. Find Tasha and listen to her tweets because she's a positive person. And just surround yourself with the positivity until it rubs off on you.
Yeah, I mean, there are sadly some people out there who kind of get jealous and will try to bog you down if you have good news and be like, oh, yeah, that's great for you, but this is happening with me.
We have a live question.
Oh, we do? Okay.
Yes. From Andrew Muntz. Oh, that's my agent brother. Hello, Andrew.
Hi, Andrew.
So he's loving Whiskey, Wine, and Writing right now. Optimism and critique partners are the way to go. Question: where can writers find awesome critique partners? I can't talk tonight. Take that away, Tasha, because you created the most amazing thing.
So actually on the Whiskey Wine Writing site, whiskeyWineWriting.com, we have what is called the Critique Partner Classifieds. I have the form pinned now beneath, like if you just scroll over it and not click on the critique partners, it'll have the drop down of the form for you so you can find it easily. So you can either go through the ads and see if someone fits what you're looking for, and then you'll fill out the form. It'll come to us and we'll get you in contact. or you can fill out an ad of your own, and if somebody hits that up, then we will send you the information to let you know that somebody's interested in being an awesome critique partner for you. So that's one way to do it, and you know, hopefully I've had a couple of people respond, so hopefully that's been working out. I haven't had it. I should actually put out a call for feedback on if you found a critique partner through it and if it worked out.
Yeah, and there's other ways too. That is a cool way. I always thought that was so neat. But you know, go to writers group, put out feelers. I always recommend doing a short swap first, because people who dive into like, yeah, let's swap full manuscripts, and then you end up maybe hating that person's book. It's kind of like dating. You gotta test the waters a little bit first.
Yeah, always do like a chapter or two swap.
A chapter, and make sure you lay out what you want genre-wise, because sometimes what you write, maybe you're not as great as critiquing a different genre or different age group.
Absolutely. Elle also says, critique groups and partners are good for more than feedback. They are good for camaraderie, for support, and for accountability. Sometimes we need a hug. Sometimes we need a kick in the pants. This is very, very true. And it is kind of hard to virtually hug somebody else. So maybe you should get, like, maybe we should all get, like, bears or something, so that when we say we want to hug our critique partner and we do it via Skype or something, you just have a bear and you hug them and be like, this is my hug for you. That was weird. I'm sorry. I don't know.
No. You know, whatever works for everyone. That's super cute. I like it. My mom does this thing where she goes, hug the mama in a box, and I'm like, okay, mom, bye.
Hug the mama in a box. That's
she considers the computer a box.
Oh, okay. So that's definitely interesting. That's a new one for me.
Oh,
so.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm like a Yeti tonight, guys, by the way. I live in the mountains where the weather's erratic, and we went from 75-degree weather to 30-ish degree weather today, and I'm out of heat, so I'm cold.
I know, that sucks that it's so cold up here. Like, we're dying down here. Like, it's already feel like triple digits. Because I don't know if this is like applies up north during the summer, but down here you have the actual temperature, so it could be like 90, but it feels like 103. I don't understand why. I would just think that it's actually like 103, but no, it'll be like 90, but it feels like 103. I assume because it's a combination between the humidity and the heat and everything else. So yeah, we were pretty sure that it felt into the triple digits, especially when the humidity hit right before the storms came. So it was like, oh, yeah.
Last we had the opposite, where it's like, oh, it's 75 degrees, but with the wind chill factor, it's 40. And we're like, oh. And the wind like blows you over, and you're like, no, I'm flying.
But wind chill, I get. Like, I get wind chill making it feel different, because when the wind stops, you don't feel near as cold, but the wind can slice through you. When it's like 90 degrees and there is no breeze, it's like, oh, it feels like 103. I'm like, yeah, okay, thanks. Why isn't it just 103?
My super awesome agent brother pal, Andrew Munz, which you should follow him, everyone. It's at Andrew Munz, M-U-N-Z, says that a great idea is to have a chapter 1 roulette. Anonymously send in a chapter, get an anonymous chapter to critique, and then you make friends. That sounds like a fun, like, party game. I like that. I'm always down for first chapters.
And Elle says, I always give a potential beta reader or critique swap person my query first to see if they even want to dive into what I've written. That's a good idea too. Like, I didn't even think about that, but that's smart. But then again, some people don't have queries at that point, so I can understand that as well. So, but that if you do have queries to swap, that's a good idea. See if you're even interested in the premise of the story to begin with.
Yeah, because I mean, sometimes, you know, not every book is everyone's cup of tea, and that's okay. It doesn't make anyone's book any less or whatever, but you don't want to commit to reading a bazillion thousand words and then have to tell them, oh, yay, good luck. I have no notes.
Yeah, especially that's definitely something I would ask about too, is the word count, because if you go to be a CP with somebody and their book is finished at like 200,000 words or something like that, that would be really kind of difficult, I think, for a lot of people, because it's way out of any word count that an agent's going to take. So I would definitely also ask about the word count to begin with, just to make sure it's within a range that you're going to feel comfortable critiquing with.
Yeah. So speaking of critiquing, Because, I mean, that might sound backwards to some of you. It's like, wait, I want to stay positive and you want me to go under criticism? I think one of the best ways to really stay on the positivity happy train is to learn to take criticism. And, like, this is a great way to get your feet wet with that. So whenever you get a critique back from someone, first you need to take a big breath before you read it. And then you have to, I always encourage my friends that what you do is you actually do not make any thoughts once you read the first round of reading your new critique. You go back and then you read it again, and or take 10 minutes and read it. Just, you know, let it settle in, because sometimes it can feel like an attack even when it's not, because it's just a comment or something to help you be better. So, but if you can learn not to take criticism negatively, that will help your spirit so much.
So Heather ADV on Twitter, she says, I have a glowing review I read over and over every time I get a rejection email. And then she says, hashtag, so what if it's from my mom? I love that, though.
Awesome.
Moms are awesome. And absolutely, you're right. So what if it's from your mom? If it makes you happy and it gives you the drive to keep going and that positive feel you need, read it over and over again. That's awesome, Heather.
Yeah,
So, yeah, speaking of queries, I do want to bring this up again. Guys, we are giving away query critiques. Nikki and I are doing 2-piece. It's on the Rafflecopter over at our site, whiskeyminewriting.com. So go over there, enter, and I think it goes through till tomorrow we have it, right?
Tomorrow at midnight.
So
probably draw at midnight. It'll close at midnight, and then maybe the next morning.
Yeah, so we'll let you know the next day who won. And of course, you know, it is random. It's a random draw, so whoever wins, just luck of the draw.
Yeah, and it's, you know, I cannot tell you how many times I entered this query critique contest, because having that feedback from random people, not that me and Tasha are random, because I know we're really like your best friends in your computer room right now, but it's so helpful to get another perspective. Even if you disagree with it, it just opens your brain up to like, oh, here's a different way to see it.
So, yeah. Elle also says, also make sure you're clear on the type of critiquing you expect and will be given line edits versus overall plot. That is definitely something to talk to your critique partner about, what kind of critiquing you're looking at, and things like that. And Suzanne Salmon, who is our social media guru, she's the one tweeting for us tonight. She also says criticism, the constructive kind. Yeah, because there is bad criticism, guys. So make sure you're always constructive in it, please. Truly makes us better. Hashtag real talk. Love it, because it does. You know, you can't get better if you don't know what you're doing wrong.
Agreed.
So, definitely. Crap, there was something else I wanted to say.
You know, I think that's another thing is we all are spacey writers. I think if I don't know what I'm talking about half the time either. Did you freeze? She might have froze. Did I freeze? Someone tweet me whether or not she froze or I froze. Hello? I think. Tasha, are you there? Okay, so I think it's Tasha left for a second. Her computer went blue. Sorry for the silence time. I will talk by myself for a while. So, yep, I'm by myself. Hey guys, this is the Nikki Show, and I'm really cold. But the way to stay positive when you're by yourself on the internet is to talk into a little camera and say hello, Twitter. But seriously, guys, I know that it gets sad when you're querying and maybe you're seeing your numbers shoot up to the hundreds. I definitely went through that when I queried like 4 books. That was really, really hard, going through each book thinking this one's it, and this one's it, and maybe this one. And it took that 4th one to finally get my agent. And, you know, I'm so grateful for the experience, because I really would have been lost without it, I think. Because, you know, if I had just gotten my first book, which some people do, and those people are superstars, but I wasn't ready yet at the time. So I think I just got a tweet. Hold on. They can hear me but not see anyone. Great. So is that still me, guys, or can you talk to Tasha, or can you talk to me? Oh, it's okay. Thank you, Elle. I appreciate that. Okay, so you can't see anyone. Let me put me forward. Can you see me now? This is Nikki on Whiskey, Wine, and Writing by herself for the first time ever, and she is going to talk about positivity, because I'm positively lost by myself without Tasha, because Tasha, let's be honest, is awesome. Anyway, as I was saying, when you go through the author journey, sometimes you do have to write multiple books. Sometimes you have to, you know, send out lots of queries, but it's each part of it, like my query partner, my critique partner, Emily, Newfangled Housewife on Twitter, she's fantastic. When we text each other progress, it's because you're really learning every step of the way. So really, how can you be sad when every little bit that you're doing is making you feel better? Even though it doesn't feel better at the time. You're really just learning to be better, and your writing is growing. And oh, they can see my face now. Hi guys, yay. So Tasha before the show told me that there might be a storm with her computer. We do have 15 minutes left, so we're gonna hope she comes back. It says she might be here, but I don't hear her or see her. But anyway, if anyone has any questions, that would be great, because it's hard talking by yourself. But let's see. I think the saddest part I ever got to, I think it was, I queried my first novel, and I was really, really excited because my query did super well, but my book was definitely not there yet. It's probably the worst thing I've ever written. And there's this agent, and her assistant was so excited to read it. It was about mermaids, by the way. I realized 4 books later I do better with contemporaries, just for the record. So this assistant was like, oh, I'm so excited to read this book. It sounds great. We'll get back to you ASAP. Thank you so much. And then the next email I got a month later was, I thought I would like this better. And my soul just disintegrated. I was like, why would you say that? That makes me so sad. But, you know, I learned a lot just from that experience. She thought she'd like it better. So that meant the premise was okay. But my premise, while it was okay, and my query obviously was okay, the writing was definitely not there yet. It turns out, if I do ever revisit this book, now from what I've learned, that really, I could probably cut the first half of this book. It's so slow. There's just no movement. And now my new book, people have told me, is like so fast paced that they can't even believe it's 90,000 words right now. We do have tweets, yay. Kathy Palm says, your first MS might not get your agent, keep going. That is sound advice. Everyone should go follow Kathy Palm at Kathleen Palm. And then we have, I'm blurry. Thanks, Raquel. I wish I could fix it. I don't know how. And then Suzanne, do you want to come in here with me? Because that could be fun. Suzanne is our new social media specialist. And she, I gotta be honest, is fantastic. I think we're like separated at birth soulmates. She just joined the team as a social media person, which let's be honest, is a super hard task because there's a lot to do with social media. I was actually a social media specialist at one point. Sorry, just got another tweet. But anyway, we are expanding our team, and we love having all these new positive people, and she's just a ray of sunshine in my life. So I'm going to send her a message to see if she would want to join us. But anyway, so how do you guys stay positive, especially when you're floating around the internet by yourself? Okay, great. Lana Wood Johnson says, how do you keep your motivation going when you hit the WIP doldrums, the work in progress? Oh boy, I actually just hit that. So that's a great question, Lana. I have to step away. That's my big thing. I'll step away and either do something else, or what I like to do is really talk about my plot points. Tasha is back.
I am so sorry, guys. My computer completely blue screened to death me and shut down. Like, holy crap. That has never, ever happened before. Well, actually,
I invited Suzanne in because...
No, that's okay. That's okay. Hi, Suzanne.
I apologize.
Hi, what's up?
I totally probably had maybe like a few minutes of silence because I wasn't sure if I froze or you froze, and I was like,
Guys, it was totally my fault. My computer completely like blue screened and came up with like I don't even know what kind of gibberish it was speaking. So my brother will be coming over this week to fix that so that never happens live again.
So say hi, Suzanne.
Now that I'm back, meet Suzanne, our new social
Hi guys.
specialist.
Hello. I wasn't prepared.
I'm fine. You, by the way, get brownie points for clicking my ambiguous link that I just randomly sent you with no actual prompting. So thank
I just trust you. Like, I don't know.
Oh,
My
God.
cat really wants to be part of this show.
you.
And this is what happens on live shows, guys, when you have no idea what's going to happen. Like now, apparently, whatever caused my computer to shut down has also taken away my tagline and logo.
So before you guys came on, we did get a good question. I would love your feedback on it because I think a lot of people would love to hear a diverse answer. And it's, how do you keep your motivation going when you hit the mid-work-in-progress doldrums?
I've actually had that recently because I've hit 33K on my work in progress, which is a little under midway, but sometimes you just kind of get to a point where you're like, crap, you're just pissing me off. So what I kind of do is I think about a scene that I want to write, and I know it's coming up, and I realize if I push through what I'm doing, I get to write the juicy stuff. So I think forward and brainstorm about what I want to happen and what I'm excited to write about, and then instead of skipping over what I don't want to write about, I realize my reward for getting through it is to write the really juicy part that I want to write.
I do that too, except your books are way juicier than mine. Mine are not juicy. Like recently, I stepped away from my work in progress because it's a young adult thriller, and I needed a unique way to have a something bad happen at homecoming. And so I seriously pulled everyone on what's the worst possible thing that could happen to them at homecoming, and it became this big conversation at work. And then I finally figured out that I'm going to have PB2 explode from a confetti cannon at the dance, and everyone's going to go into anaphylactic shock.
Holy crap!
Everybody loves a confetti cannon.
Killer, just so they're for prompting. I'm not. Yeah, it's about someone who's trying to kill people.
Awesome. And what about you, Suzanne?
Okay, so we're talking about like mid-manuscript doldrums, right?
Yes.
That's basically my life right now. I'm in the middle of my first ever manuscript. It's a new adult fantasy novel, and I started April, I think somewhere in like the 50,000 word area, and then I did Camp NaNoWriMo, and now I'm at 90,000 words, and it was really, really hard, like really, really hard to I guess like pick myself up by my bootstraps or whatever you'd call it, because, you know, like you said, Natasha, the juicy parts are like ahead, and you can get super excited about that, but there's a lot of like just random stuff that has to happen before then, and like, you know, it's tough, but you have to just remember like how satisfying it is that you're going to be able to write the end, and then you're going to go and revise, and like it's going to be good. So you really have to push through it. It's so worth it. Definitely don't give up in the middle. It's really tempting to like take a month-long break or something, but if you're really committed to getting it done, you should totally get through it.
It doesn't have to be like a sexy scene or anything like that, but just something I'm excited about writing, a scene I know I want to write that I brainstormed ahead of time, and I'm like, I can't wait to get to that part, because I found if I skip scenes that I don't want to do, I have the hardest time going back to them.
Mm-hmm.
I used to be a non-linear writer, where I'd be like, I jump around and I do this, and I realized that I work better as a linear writer, forcing myself through the parts that I have a hard time writing. And then generally when I go back and I revise, I usually wind up changing them anyway, because I find that the scenes that I have a hard time writing don't necessarily fit the book as well as I want them to. So I usually wind up revising them and changing them anyway.
Yeah, that's cool. Another thing I like to do if I'm really stuck, and I try not to overdo this, because I think it can hurt your work in progress if you don't, you know, take it seriously, but I love word sprints. If I do too many, sometimes I end up writing too many words I can't use later. but it really sometimes gets you through those tough parts because you just have to sit down and write. And I love word sprints. I could be like do them every day. I'm addicted. That's why I have to limit myself, because otherwise I did write like 13,000 words in a day and deleted all of it the next because it was utter crap. It's good to get the juices going, and just like Suzanne said, that gratifying feeling that you did it and you can do it and you just need to get to the end. So that's
also like, who cares if you oh, sorry.
No, go ahead. That happens to us all the time. Go for it.
I was just going to say, you know, on word sprints, which absolutely got me through this month, you know, who cares if you have to throw half of it out? It's still really good. And, like, I don't know, I forget where I heard this, but I've heard a lot of authors say that, you know, your first, like, 50 to 100 pages of your manuscript is sometimes just you warming up. Like,
oh, yeah.
you get...
Starting in the wrong spot. It's a bad habit I have. I do it all the time.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, that happens. Starting the wrong spot, it is warm up, and you got that is another thing that will help you be a little bit more positive. Is when you realize that cutting stuff is not necessarily a bad thing. It might suck sometimes because you really like a scene, but if you can learn to be okay with cutting what doesn't move your story forward, then you're gonna find this to be a lot easier in the long run, I think.
Totally. We have another question. Actually, it's from Suzanne when I was floundering, but I still think...
I'm so sorry.
No, it's okay.
I was not expecting the blue screen of death, okay?
Well, the thing is, I've been the one having computer problems, so I thought I froze at first, and so I was like, okay, I'm going to wait until someone tweets me, and then all of a sudden I got all the tweets at once. I was like, crap, I've been silent. I apologize, everyone. Thanks for staying on, by the way. I can see that there's people still on watching. You guys are so nice.
Yeah, Nikki texted me. She's like, did you freeze or did I freeze? I'm like, no, I'm not even there.
I was like, oh, man. So Suzanne had asked when I was floundering, how do you stay positive when your genre is super popular and booming? And, oh, man, that one is a hard hitter because it can feel so hopeless. I always thought that the way to do it is just find a way to make your book unique. What are you showing us?
That was my computer. Literally, that's what happened when I disappeared. Like, all that was my computer. You can see it a little bit on one screen, and the rest of the screen, that's what happened. Go ahead, sorry.
Oh my god, I'd be violently sobbing. Like, violently.
I almost did on camera. But anyway, so with the genre, I feel like don't be in despair if you're like, oh no one's taking XYZ genre anymore. You just need to be extra motivated to make yours the most unique book ever. Google your title, Google your premise, Google things about your book, and be like, oh, wait, there's something similar out there? Let me tweak a little bit so it's just mine. Because nothing's more disappointing than getting to the end of writing a book and you're about to send out the query and you found out there's a book that already exists just like it.
Yes, agreed. And I suck at titles, really bad. Like, I'm sure there are a million and one other redemptions out there. I don't know if that will be the end title. I don't know. I just know that I suck at them personally. So yeah. But, you know, definitely Googling what you're writing, see if there's a story similar out there. And I would say if there is a similar story, it might be to your benefit to read it or at least read a synopsis about it. So you don't follow in the same tracks and you find a way to make it unique. So that would be my suggestion.
Yeah. I think that actually happened to me when I was writing. I used to write sci-fi fantasy type stuff before I realized I wasn't good at it. And
she is good at it. Don't let her lie to you.
Read it. You did not read it.
No, I didn't read it, but I know you, and I know that you're a freaking fantastic writer, so it's impossible for you to be bad at it.
Well, thank you. But I did tweet about it. It wasn't a pitch contest. I tweeted my premise just in general. It was before I knew about contests. I was such a noob. But and an agent tweeted back, sounds like X, Y, and Z, and I was like, like, this seems more mortifying than an agent tweeting you that your book has been done. Though I did Google that book, and it was nothing like my book. But I realized that my pitch sounded like the book, and I didn't even realize it.
Yeah, so, I mean, it can happen, and it's insane. And, again, guys, I'm really sorry that I kind of disappeared on you. Wasn't expecting that. But we are at the end of the hour, and thank you so much to Suzanne for coming on to save the day. She's not only our social media specialist, she is our superhero tonight.
New best friend. She filled out an application. I accept.
Thank you.
Absolutely amazing, and thank you for being here. And Suzanne, is there anything you want to say while you're on the air? You can touch base. Any thoughts?
No, this was a lot of fun. I'm like, I feel so cool right now being like on here, like in the real show. I want to do it again.
They say that they're like, oh, we feel so cool, and I'm like, oh, okay, I didn't know we were the cool kids.
You guys are really cool. Like, and if we were in high school, I'd want to be sitting at your table. I'd only put it that way.
I was the kid in high school who sat at everybody's table. Like, I went and chilled with the goths and, you know, the smokers and the ROTC kids, and like I hung out with everybody. I didn't have like one clique. I just didn't. I had more fun hanging out with everybody.
That's called a floater.
Oh, okay, I was a floater.
I was the girl doing interpretive dances in the cafeteria for no reason, just because I felt like it. Yeah. So speaking of the goths, did I ever tell you about the time I won Homecoming Sophomore Princess? It's because I convinced.
Oh, that's awesome though.
I was the biggest nerd, guys. I was like, a freak. Like,
apparently you weren't that big of a nerd. You won freaking princess. I was nowhere even near the court.
Well, no, what I did was I went to the goth friends, because I secretly always wanted to be one of my parents put me in private school to keep me from wearing the clothes I wanted, and then I got to go to public school when I was older, and at that point I was a nerd who wore polos all the time. But I said, hey, goth friends, wouldn't it be hysterical if I went Homecoming Princess? And they went, yeah, that would be hysterical. So I went Homecoming Princess.
I feel like it's She's All That goth version.
Yes. Why isn't that movie made?
Well, they're actually remaking She's All That, apparently. I don't know how
I think I saw
apparently they're redoing it, so it'll be interesting. But so we're going over time now, and we love you guys. And again, I'm sorry for my computer malfunction. I'm so sorry to Nikki for leaving you there.
No, you would make it up to me, guys, for my make me feel better about my epic fail of silence. Go for our contest, get a query critique, share it with your friends. It'll totally make me feel like less of a loser. Thanks, guys.
Absolutely. And thank you again, Suzanne. And next week, we have Emily, yes, Nikki?
Yes, we're going to have a special Mother's Day segment before Mother's Day with my CP friend who I talk about all the time, Emily Dunn, on how to, like, not how to, but, like, the life of a writer who's also a mother and how to balance both, because she is a superstar. And I know there's a lot of moms out there who, you guys are awesome the way you write and raise your family. It's just good for you, and I think it's to be celebrated.
Absolutely. So we will have Emily here, and you guys know her. She's been Newfangled Housewife on Twitter, talks a lot when we're on the show. So, you know, Nikki CP partner and amazing all-around chick. So it's going to be a lot of fun having her on the show, so we'll see you next week. Remember to enter the query contest. Thanks, Suzanne. Follow her on Twitter, and we will see you guys next Monday. Have a good one.
Bye.
Bye.